So, yeah, you talked about some of these couples that maybe they look like they belong in a hipster bridal magazine, but all our couples somehow just seem to always just look like that. They're all magnificent. They'll bring their own vibrancy and spark. So I think the only real commonality maybe amongst our unbridled couples are those ones that are looking for a more stress-free way to get married, where their focus is on getting married and maybe not so much the wedding, but still want that amazing experience. So don't want to cheapen anything or feel as though that they've done anything less than what everybody else would have done. So they're bringing those themes with them. And yeah, they could be introverted, extroverted, all different, like myriad of personality types seem to come in. But the idea of maybe not conforming is also pretty powerful to a lot of these couples, more so because they feel as though this was our choice. This is how we are choosing to get married, not the way that we were told should happen.
Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. Hi and thanks for listening. The Ultra Electric is a group of three mates, Dee, Sarah and Anthony, who decided that there needed to be an alternative for those who don't want the standard registry office marriage ceremony, but also don't quite want or need the big white shebang. They've created a space for weddings that rock and are romantic and good vibes only. So I'm having a chat with Anthony Cribus about what they do at the Ultra Electric, the different types of couples they attract and the commonalities between them. So maybe you'll identify yourself as a runaway and elope kind of couple too. We'll also cover off Vegas wedding law versus Australian wedding rules, super important. And Anthony shares some advice for those who might be introverted and a bit worried about standing up and talking in front of lots of people on their wedding day. Let's dive into it. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, how are you?
I'm really excited and I'm really curious. If you could please share, what is it that you guys do?
We are a Vegas-inspired style wedding chapel, and we're all built around that concept that you might conjure in your mind what a Vegas wedding might be for you, which is something that is fun, short, sweet, but still memorable, still brings a lot of energy. We always say we get as many tears in here as we do cheers, which is a great ratio to work to. But it's all about hitting the sweet spot for those couples that like the idea of getting married, but the idea of a wedding is a little overwhelming. But also then the thought of just going through a legals only type process or going to a registry office is equally underwhelming for them. And we were all about, well, it doesn't have to be that way. So we do weddings where it's literally just the couple, they've snuck off, they haven't told anyone, they've come in here, we provide the witnesses. Or we can have a 5-hour party extravaganza with up to 70, 80 people. But the commonality for all those couples is they want something simple, meaningful, that was stress-free and they didn't have to think too much. And that's the beauty about booking here, because any package you choose, we do the thinking for you. It's all inclusive. We've got Elvis, if you love the idea of Elvis.
Are you Elvis?
No, not me, God no. But we've got a great Elvis and he's amazing. So yeah, photography, live streaming, whatever you want, we can do it for you.
Who came up with the idea that Vegas was the best stopgap between the registry office and the big white shebang?
My business partners who aren't here today, Sarah and Dee, who are also celebrants, and they originally had the idea many years ago. And the concept they'd originally had, and that I'd spoken about with them as well, just by chance one day over a coffee, was having a place where you could work out of it as being a celebrant, but being able to also marry people at the back in a little kind of cute chapel setup. So that was the original idea. The Vegas tagline really came up as we more just started chatting and evolving the idea that it'd just be like going to Vegas, but here in Melbourne. Then we thought, if it's like going to Vegas, let's make it feel like it is going to Vegas. The whole idea is to really bring some of that fun and colour that just makes for great photos.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, like on your website as well, Anthony, there's all these incredibly, I call them hip, trendy, cool, I don't know. They look like, yeah, they should be on some sort of alternative commercial for how to live life. And these people are just living it up in your venue. Unbridely couples are like all couples, and there's no restrictions. And that's the whole idea of Unbridely. So for you guys, who are an ultra-electric couple?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's so funny because like we will do 6 weddings in here and I'm like, oh, the only thing that we can find in common with them is they came here to get married because they all come from such different walks of life. We'll get white collar professionals. We've had neurosurgeons, pilots, engineers. We get tradies. We get nurses. We'll get everything. We'll get second marriages. We'll get couples in their 50s, in their 40s, couples that have been together for 30 years and are finally getting married. Our first ever couple actually was a great story. They'd been together for 40 years. Maybe it was 30. I think I just pulled a number out of my behind there.
They've been together 700 years.
Like all their children were in their 20s, had never thought about getting married. And they found out about us. They were from Brisbane. And they said, we're coming down to the Melbourne Cup later on in the year because that was going to be a big family trip. And they said, if we're going to be in Melbourne with our kids, let's just go to the Ultra Electric and get married. That was our first ever wedding. And then the next wedding was a couple in their 20s. And they brought 5 people, just their immediate families, and got married. And then I think our third wedding was a couple in their 30s. They were professionals who brought 30 people and were just wanting to have a party. That theme has continued to maintain in our business the entire way. So, yeah, you talked about some of these couples that maybe they look like they belong in a hipster bridal magazine, but all our couples somehow just seem to always just look like that. They're all magnificent. They'll bring their own vibrancy and spark. So I think the only real commonality maybe amongst our unbridled couples are those ones that are looking for a more stress-free way to get married, where their focus is on getting married and maybe not so much the wedding, but still want that amazing experience. So don't want to cheapen anything or feel as though that they've done anything less than what everybody else would have done. So they're bringing those themes with them. And yeah, they could be introverted, extroverted, all different, like myriad of personality types seem to come in. But the idea of maybe not conforming is also pretty powerful to a lot of these couples, more so because they feel as though this was our choice. This is how we are choosing to get married, not the way that we were told should happen. And what's great is sometimes they'll come in and grandma, grandpa will come in and they might be a little bit shocked maybe or starting to question what this is about. And they often become our biggest advocate. So we tell the story. We've got one grandma. We've married 3 of her grandkids. And she, every time she comes in, I tell all my grandkids they have to get married here this way. Because our ceremonies, whilst only 5 to 8 minutes, still pack in a lot of meaning and a lot of sentimentality and feeling to them. But it hasn't been any over-the-top production that maybe sometimes that feels like the focus is how well the production has gone as opposed to the meaning of the wedding part. So that's also a pretty key contribution. And the production in here is already done for you. Like it already looks amazing aesthetically.
You're abbreviating maybe the amount of time, but you're not cheapening the experience.
As we say, low fuss, high feels. That's the way we describe it.
So the ultra electric isn't a type of person, it's a frame of mind. It's an attitude.
Yeah, that's right. We might put that on our T-shirts
Write that down.
Well now.
Maybe you can tell people though, Anthony, because this is important. Since we're based here in Australia, what are the rules for Australian legal ceremonies versus maybe the Las Vegas style?
So everybody conjures up in their mind, again, another image with Vegas wedding. Hey, we just had a good run at the blackjack table. Get on my arm, you are my lucky charm. Let's get down to that chapel. We're going to make this thing legal. Doesn't quite work that way in Australia. We have the notice of intended period, which is a minimum 1 month period here in Australia. So you have to lodge what's called a notice of intended marriage with a wedding celebrant no less than 1 month before your wedding and no greater than 18 months before your date of your wedding. It gives the celebrant plenty of time to make sure that you meet all the right criteria and everything about this wedding is okay and good to go ahead I think the other good reason is it does also give you the time to go, hey, last night at the blackjack table, that sounded like a great idea to get married, but maybe not today. So once you get married, it's the next step is divorce, which is not only quite costly, it's quite a lengthy process for you to go through as well. So for heaven's sake, don't on a whim get married.
You still haven't written your vows yet, have you? Let me help. In around 20 minutes or so, you can easily write personalised wedding vows unlike anything you've heard before that will make your fiancé feel like the most loved, understood and appreciated person on the planet. The How to Write Wedding Vows That Don't Suck. Instant download 17-page PDF ebook walks you through a step-by-step format for your vows, how to find the right words and phrases to describe your feelings and your fiancé, how to write that crucial first draft and create your final wedding vows masterpiece. So if you don't know how or even where to start, if you've been Googling your little heart out, or if you've been calling them wedding vows, AEIOU, this ebook is for you. Included in there are also some bonus secrets for getting the most out of your wedding ceremony. So make sure you download your copy right now and get Write Your Wedding Vows crossed off your to-do list today. The link is in the show notes.
There was that story of those two, I think there was two like 18-year-old boys somewhere in Australia when lockdown happened. If it was a wedding though, you could have 70 or 80 or whatever. You could have X amount of people come. So these two 18-year-old boys married each other to have, and the excuse to have a party with their mates. Then they learnt the ramifications of what that actually meant.
I was curious, what is the general lead time between I want to get married at the altar electric and coming and booking with you and the time of their actual ceremony?
It varies around what kind of package they've picked. So our smallest package, which is called the shotgun, it's a ceremony only in this space here. You're only in for half an hour. Those are typically booked at a shorter period of time, but then that's if they're only coming here. Some people are also doing the shotgun and going somewhere else. So that whole marry now, party later type setup. So they'll come in here. They'll just do it with 10 people because they didn't want to do their whole ceremony in front of a crowd. Then they've met the 100 people at a bar later. So if they've got to organise somewhere for 100 people to go, it can often take a little bit longer. But that, if they're just doing the shotgun, that one's going to be pretty short turnaround, somewhere between, on average, it's probably 3 months. The next package up, which is a little more action, which is a 2-hour like micro wedding package, and that's for more people. That would sort of book out, say, typically about a 4 to 6 month lead time is when people are booking that. And then our biggest one, Beverly Abbotsford package, because we're located here in Abbotsford in Melbourne. That one looks more like your standard wedding lead time of somewhere between 12 to 18 months, because that is a bigger package. That's for more people, logistics. You can't just say to everyone, hey, I need you to have next Saturday night free in a month because you're coming to our wedding. We've also got the honeymooner and Dee, so Sarah and Dee.
Someone comes on a honeymoon with you? Pick which one of you?
Yeah, no, well, it's not quite, we don't quite go that far with, but yeah, the honeymooner then is like our all-in-one, really like super condensed wedding experience. So you come here, get married, and then you can stay at one of two really cool little retro hotels. So there's one that's about an hour north of Melbourne in Kyneton, which Kyneton's this beautiful little country town that everyone loves, or you can stay here in the CBD. So it's got your accommodation, you get a Cadillac ride, you get matrimonial burgers that you can have. It's got like all these like cool little tweaks to it, and it's all in one. So you just book it and then you just get that full experience. Come, get married, caddy, wedding night in a cool hotel, all these things. So that one's called the honeymooner. We don't quite come with you on that. We basically will bid you farewell at the doorway, and then you can do that. But it's got all in that as well. Elvis comes for you. You get a little Super 8 film.
No stress though.
Yeah, and the reason why we've done it this way is we've been in weddings ourselves for so many years, and we've seen the pain points that often trip couples up. So we've done that bit for you. It's not about locking you into a one-size-fits-all. It's just about trying to do all the thinking for you ahead of time. So you just get to turn up and enjoy the experience. That's about it.
That's so cool, Anthony. So cool. So as we've been saying, like bold, bright, colour. Yep. Yeah, just being yourself, the freedom to do what you want. You're basically giving your couples permission. I meet a lot of couples who they know what they want, but they're actually a little bit frightened to express what that is. Like there might be expectations from friends or family, or they just might be a little bit personally introverted. How do you help these couples?
I think the first thing that's really core to our business is that we are 100% about and for our couples. So from the moment you get an inquiry, Dee, who deals with all the customer inquiries, we're not just treating you like, oh, this is just another inquiry, bang out the template, there you go, if you book, you book. Like, we are genuinely passionate that you've bothered to reach out to us. And so we want to come back to you. So we always treat you with that real high care, high feel approach to our business. And we do that from the moment you inquire till all the way till you've gotten married and we've registered your paperwork. That is really important to us because we understand that whilst we might do numerous weddings a year, this is your one wedding. So we really appreciate and don't take that for granted. That nurturing way in which we take care of our couples tends to allow them to naturally get more comfortable and feel their way through the process. But by no means can you ever force it. If you are a very shy, quiet person and speaking in public and being the center of attention is not your, dream day out, there's no amount of words of encouragement and of, no, you'll be right, trust me, just fine, there's nothing wrong with it, just breathe, is going to change that for you. That's just who you are. And diversity is a beautiful thing. We love how diverse our couples are and we embrace it and we want that because it makes for our business such a greater, richer business. It makes us greater, richer people and everything is improved. We will always meet you at where you need to be at. So if you're quite a quiet, shy, introverted couple who aren't comfortable with too much of your details being shared, then it's not for me to tell you that's incorrect and I'm going to share details I believe that should happen. I need to understand that of you because your wedding needs to be a representation of who you are. So if that's who you are, we will still create a beautiful space. We will still allow for the occasion to come through about the meaning and how momentous it is for you, but being completely respectful of who you are. And that was perfect because that was your wedding. That's who you are. So if, though, you are sitting there and you're like, oh, I really would like to maybe say this, but I'm not quite sure, we interview our couples and we ask them those questions and then we can nurture that. Between us, there is over 2,000 weddings worth of experience that we can share that we've seen. So we bring that to the day. But the most important thing is for you to know what your comfort levels are. So that's true whether you come here or whether you get married anywhere else. You just be true to yourself. There are plenty of shoulds and there are plenty of people willing to offer the advice, but no one knows you better than you.
Anthony, for those couples out there who want something a little bit different and they're feeling the pull of the ultra electric, what do you tell them?
Just use then this as an example. Remove ultra electric, insert name of X there. It's really important to, first of all, look under the hood. So you've reached out and said, yeah, we want to go for it. Ask the questions that you have in the back of your head straight up. If you've got clear ideas, you are strong, you are a bold kind of person that's like, I want to put this out there. Tell that up front. You want to know very quickly that this is going to be a good match for you. Those two things have to line up. Unless you put it out there and you say all the things that are on your mind, we'll never know. So if you want to come here, line up a time, come in because you can see it for as much as you like online, but there's nothing quite like being in the flesh. So get in there and smell what the painted walls smell like in here. They smell lovely, by the way.
Sure. Really
immerse yourself in the space and get 100% comfortable that this is for you. We love getting to know people. We want to know who you are, and because we want to feel that genuine connection. But conversely, we want you to feel that genuine connection back to us. Because often we'll find with couples, one of the couples is like, yeah, that's us. And the other one's like, yeah, sitting on the fence. By the time they're both left, they're both feet in. But yeah, that's really key to the process.
Did you have any last bits, any last advice for couples?
I'm always reticent to offer too much advice because I think you're never in someone else's shoes. You never know how someone else is seeing the world. So advice is always, for me, very contextual. But if I could just implore people more so to really take the time to get comfortable with whatever decision they want to make. That one's key. If you're comfortable, like going wham, bam, just make it happen, totally cool. And I think that's a great approach and that's who I am. But if you're still thinking about things, take the time to work through that. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel too pressured.
So, Anthony, for people who want to find yourself, Dee and Sarah, the Ultra Electric, where can they find you?
Yep. So the easiest place is the website. It's the altar, ALTAR. That one sometimes catches people out, but it's like a church altar, electric.com.au, or head to our Instagram page where there's heaps of visuals on there as well. They're the two best places to really get a taste for who we are and what we do.
Really good to have a chat with you. Wish you all the best for the upcoming season too.
Thanks, Camille.
And hopefully sometime I'll get to come down to little old Melbourne town and check it out in the flesh.
Thanks, Camille.
Bye.
Bye.
That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.